dude, he's going to wear the
UConn.
UConn hat to spite you, Rob. I had to talk him out of it. I go, no,
Oh,
no, no,
not to
no.
You're gonna
spite
wear the
him. It's
UConn
to
gear? I would
celebrate
respect
them.
that. I mean, that's hey, that's your team.
Yeah.
I've been rooting them since the Jim Calhoun days. They've had great coaching on that team. They always seem to hire great coaches. To Tony's point, Jim Calhoun, Kevin Ollie was hit or miss. He got his championship though, and I love Hurley. I love
Yeah,
Hurley.
they
He's
don't.
awesome.
UConn doesn't mess around. If the coach isn't getting it done, they move on.
Right.
Yes.
The other two things that have really changed the game, which absolutely drives me insane, and one of it is, okay, there aren't any centers anymore in the game. There's very few, and so there's no inside game. And you got a guy like Anthony Davis who comes to the Lakers, and the first thing he says, "I'm not going to be your center. I'm not a center. I'm playing forward. I shoot from the outside."
Right.
And here's a guy 7 foot, and he's shooting from the outside. And then the other thing is, if you talk, I always talk about coaching, right? I mean, okay, if everybody's going to shoot the three, then get out there and put a hand in their face. Make them go inside, because they're not gonna. They're going to shoot the three. So, God damn it, get your defense out there and play at the 3-point line and force them to be under pressure. I mean, that's just common sense coaching. What are they going to do? Is somebody going to really cut to the basket and make a layup? Oh, maybe one out of every 10 times, maybe. Those two things right there have really changed the game. But the other thing is, I got to say, the only thing that's kind of saved the NBA is Steph Curry. He stayed with Golden State. They added some extra pieces and they won, what, 3 or 4 times, right? Okay. So now that kind of takes us, what we're saying, off the hook, because it's okay to shoot the three, because if you get the right team, and Steve Kerr's a really great coach. So you put that together, and now everybody can shoot us right out the door. Well, what do you mean? Golden State did it. They won like 4 times out of 5, Well, and they were in it every year in the finals. But how many Currys are coming by? You won't see another one for another 20 years. I mean, if then, I won't be alive, but you guys will be around. So, yeah, I mean, and I'll touch one more, John, on Calhoun. He had to get removed from that team, but he sat in that first seat behind that bench, and that was his team. He coached Ollie to that championship.
Yeah, he did.
It wasn't Ollie, because if Ollie was a good coach, he'd still be there. Yeah.
That's a good point. A really good
Well,
point.
we don't have to mention that 2011 run, John, should never happen. If Syracuse just took care of business in the Big East tournament, you wouldn't even have gone. Ugh.
Oh, those were back in the days when my bracket was just dominating Obama's, because I had UConn coming from the 6th seed or the 7th seed or whatever.
You had to win that Big East tournament to get in, and then you won every game. It's insane.
Well, they won, what, 12 in a row? They won 12 games
they
in a
did
row.
what NC State did.
Yeah,
You gotta watch out.
When
UConn wins their tournament, you have to watch out. That means they're going to win the championship. Every year, if you look back, when they win their conference tournament, they win the title. It's a direct correlation. And that's what my bracket was based off of.
I think they're 6-0 in title games. I don't think UConn's ever lost title game.
Is that right?
Nope.
Is that right?
So enough is enough.
We have the Jordan record there.
Yeah, you had tied with UNC.
Wow.
Ugh. Anyway.
All right, well, we'll move on just for Rob here. I can be happy off camera here later. But let's go over the first round and just get everybody's take. I mean, generally, the better seed's gonna win, but let's do it. Let's see how many games you think Boston's gonna win by. Well, I'll go left to right. Rob, what do you think?
Boston's rolling. They might end up sweeping this thing. They're way better than the Heat. I think that was a play-in move matchup. They had to win play-in to get in, right?
Right. They had to win 2 games, actually.
Yeah, they didn't look. I don't think they have a chance. I don't think they're going to win a game.
No, and they got no Jimmy Butler, so that's gonna.
Yeah, I think they're done. By the way, UCLA players on the Heat, Bob. The Jaquez Jr.
He's playing out of his mind. He's playing better there than he did with us. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And the other UCLA players on that team too. Kevin Love, he is so clutch. He came in that game the other day and he actually made it close for a while. I was just like, this guy's so great, and he gets no credit. Really, he's a great player. LeBron gave him no credit. Without him, LeBron wouldn't have won that year in Cleveland. You know that,
Good.
and you know
So what
what?
do you got the Celtics doing in this round, Bob?
4 or 5. You know, it's hard to sweep, but Boston's so much better than Miami. I can see it. Um, in any case, even if they don't sweep Boston, they will come home and win Game 5. It's not going 6. I can tell you that.
How about you, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, they have no shot without Butler. I mean, they
Mm.
might win a game at home because their coach is so good, but I just don't see the Celtics losing this series. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I said the
Well, I don't see
Bob.
him
I
losing
I
any
said
series
sweep
actually, but
before we
yeah.
got on here. So,
Yeah.
how about Cleveland, Orlando? Rob, we'll start since that's Orlando's your team. We'll start with you.
So I'm very happy to see the Magic back in the playoffs. I think the future is actually pretty bright for the franchise as long as again they don't do something stupid like not keep their best players like they've done in the past.
Mm.
So yeah, cautiously optimistic for the future. As far as the series goes, I'm disappointed in how they came out of the gate. They played well against the Cavaliers during the season. I'd like to see what happens in this game that's underway. If they can steal this one, they have a chance. But if I have to pick right now, they're probably going to lose. They don't have the playoff experience. They're probably going to lose like 4-2. I think they'll win at home, but I don't think they'll win this series unless they have to win this game tonight. But if I'm on record, I'm going to go to the Cavs 4-2.
Right.
Bob?
Um, I do think the Cavs will win. They're a strange team. They have a good roster, and Mitchell's great, but they do have tendencies to lose games they should win. I do think they'll win 6 or 7. I'm going to go 7 because I can actually see them losing 3 games on the road. It'll probably be 6, but I think Cleveland will win either way. I'm
And
going to
I'll
put Cleveland
also add
7.
that the Magic, I like the way they play. They try to get it inside. They try to establish inside, and they get to
Yeah,
the free throw line more than any other team. They
yeah,
just need to shoot better at the line. So we'll
right,
see what happens.
right. Tony.
I'll go with Cleveland in 7. In
Yeah.
the NBA, in the playoffs, it's pretty tough to win a game on the road. It's pretty tough. So
The home team hasn't won yet so far. I'm sorry, the road team hasn't won yet so far. All the home teams have won.
yeah, it's pretty hard. And being my experience, being there, in that situation, we could lose by 25 and come home and win by 25. I mean, it was just that way. And I know it's been a long time since I've been there, but um, I would have to say, I'll give the edge to Cleveland. Yeah.
Right.
It's early. I'll give Orlando in 7, but I feel like that out
That's
of
good.
all the series in the East, that is the most toss up. I think it's kind of clear that the the better seed is going to win in each of the matchups except for this one. I think the Orlando Magic had the best chance of coming out underdog ahead.
Well,
But
John, if that's the case, they better win tonight because if they're down 0-2, they're finished.
Yeah, they have to win tonight.
Yeah.
we'll see. Milwaukee, Indiana. I'll start opposite. Tony.
I think here again, I think it's going to be, if Giannis doesn't play at all, it's going to be Milwaukee in 7. And I think Indiana will win all their games at home. They're a really good team. Milwaukee could go steal one there, but they didn't play them very well during the season, with or without Giannis. So I can see Indiana giving them quite a run, but Giannis doesn't play. I could see the Bucks getting beat in this series. I know that Dilliard had a great game at home, and here again I watched some of that, and they left him wide open every single time, and he killed the 3. He wasn't missing. But when you get on the road, the angles change, the lighting changes, the backdrop's different, the crowd noise. You don't make those same shots on the road as you do at home. And I don't care how good you are. So, I don't see Indiana going down in 4 games in this. I
Yeah.
don't like, I can see this being a 7-game series, but I'll pick Milwaukee, especially if Giannis comes back,
How about you, Bob?
Kind of the same thing. I mean, Giannis is the big question. But Indiana they led the league in offense, and Boston was right behind them. But like you said to me before we went on the show tonight, they were second to last in defense, Indiana. So I do think the Bucks will win. With Giannis 6, without him 7, but Indiana's going to give them a ride. I know they played lousy in the first game. They same thing with them. They have to win tonight. They have to steal one game in Milwaukee somewhere. And but I don't think they're gonna. I just think that the Bucks are a little too good for them.
Rob?
This is a tough one for me. I think the Bucks are going to win. Again, I don't know Giannis's status. I think it's important that he comes back. I just don't see the Pacers as a team that is going to have much steam in this. I think the Bucks are going to get that steal on the road and finish them off in 6.
Right.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Milwaukee in 6. I think Milwaukee, they have a little bit more history in the playoffs too, and that plays a role, in games 8, 5, 6, 7, that those extra games during the season. Indiana, their players maybe not as used to it. So, plus the extra rest in between and stuff like that. Milwaukee knows how to capitalize on that, given their history. So, I'll give the edge to them. Knicks, Philly. I got Knicks in 6.
Let me throw one thing in and then we can go there. Okay. The longer Giannis is out, the more serious it is. And they're not telling anyone. My experience is that's the way they hide it. They just go day to day, game to game. But I'm going to tell you, I don't like the way it looks. And, remember with Steph Curry, remember with Klay Thompson, remember with Kevin Durant. All of them kept saying it was a calf, it was a calf, it was a calf. Could this be an Achilles? And the longer he's out, that means it's going to be the harder for the Bucks, and he may not come back. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I could be totally wrong in this case. I don't have any inside information, but I do have experience, and I've always told Bob that it's Bob, right? Yeah. I always told Bob that the longer a guy is out, the more serious the injury is. Okay. Go ahead, John.
Do we know what Giannis's injury is, Tony? Or
well, they're claiming it's a calf injury.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
But people got to remember, and they forget, the calf muscle, the soleus muscle at the bottom, is connected to the Achilles. Not all the way at the bottom, because in the bottom, the Achilles goes into the heel bone in the back. Okay. But as it expands and goes up, it's connected to the calf muscle. And he grabbed his calf muscle and couldn't walk hardly at all. So it'll be very interesting how this plays out with him. Yeah.
Well, Tony, thanks for giving me Aaron Rodgers flashbacks. Because he was a little banged up in the preseason. He came out and played 4 snaps for me. So
fan, folks.
We don't want to see that for Giannis in the playoffs.
I'm sorry. No, I don't. I don't wish it on him. I'm just saying, they like to.
It's something to look at.
Yeah, something to keep in your back of your mind and look at to see longer and the more time that they give. They can't sit here and go 7 games with Indiana and then go into the next round. And I don't know who they'll play, but they go into the next round and, and then there's Giannis sitting, then something's wrong. Sooner or later, they're going to have to come out with the truth, So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Bob, I'll start with you this time. Break down the Knicks for me.
Great. You start with me on this.
Your favorite team, Bob?
My favorite? Yeah. Okay. You know what? The Knicks, it's actually my brother's favorite team. It's Tony's favorite team. Like the Knicks are tough and they're good. I think they're still a couple years away. They were where we were a few years ago as a Celtic fan. I can tell you that. They're small too. They're not very big. And Brunson didn't play a good game in the first game. Like he really didn't. He shot a lot. He had 22 points, but he took a lot of shots. And he missed a lot of shots. But and they bottled up Joel Embiid. And again, Joel got hurt. He got nicked up. and I wondered how bad that knee is. He could be just playing through it, and giving it, the old college try. But the longer the series goes, the better chance the Knicks have. Philly, if they're going to win, they'll win in 6. If the Knicks will win, they'll win in 7. I don't think the Knicks, they can win one game down there. I don't know. I think, you know what? I'll say Knicks in 7. That's what I think is going to be, because I think the Knicks can win one game in Philly. They can't win 2 or 3 games in Philly, but they can win 1. And they might not even do that. And they may have to win all 4 at home. But in a way, I kind of want Philly as a fan, not as a pick, as a fan, because I know Boston will rope them. They have no bench at all. They are not deep at all. And the Knicks have gone to Boston last year and this year and destroyed us up there. And that I don't like. That's nightmares of 1973, the last time the Knicks won it all over again. So I do not like that. And but I guess I'm gonna go Knicks in 7. Stop smiling, John, you're making me mad. But yeah, like I'm gonna go Knicks in 7 in a tight one. That's probably the tightest one, I think.
Tony, how's it feel with Bob choosing your team?
I know it's painful for him. I know it hurts.
Very.
He's, Bob's always looking to back in on a championship.
Oh, here we go.
He doesn't want to play the best team. He just wants to play the team that is easy to get to the next round.
What's wrong with that?
So the best teams lose, and then hey, my team won it. Yeah, well, who'd you play?
Kind of like UConn in the tournament.
Sister Mary the Blind.
Oh man,
there you go. Kind of like
that's a tough shot when they won the way they
part
did
for them in the dance. It's amazing.
Bob just wants to play Sister Mary the Poor.
Well, hey, you know what?
What?
I
don't like your background either, Bob, by the way. You got to get a better one.
UCLA. Rob put it up for me. But
what background should he get, Tony? Recommendations?
Fight on. Connecticut.
Oh God, no.
No,
like that.
Rob would never do. I don't think Rob has any of those on his computer.
All right, then Kentucky, the Cats.
But no, you know what? If you're the 1 seed, you should get an easier bracket. That's all part of being the 1 seed. That's kind of the privilege you have, and Boston has that right now. So, yeah, I think they're going to win it all. We'll get to that in a minute, but go ahead, John.
No, Tony, how many games do you think the Knicks are going to win in?
Well, I'll tell you the thing that I really bothered me. Okay, I think Sixers could have won the game. Okay, but when they were in the lead. They were in the fourth quarter. They took a beat out for about a 5-minute rest, and the Knicks came back and took the lead on it and won the game. And then they put a beat back in at the end, and I'm like, okay, it told me 2 things. 1, they could have won if he was healthy. They would have won that game. And 2, if they're going to do that, they better pick and choose the time to do it, because I got to tell you, when they took him out, they lost that game. The Knicks took over that game when they took him out of the game, because when he was in the game, Philly was in the lead the whole time, and they had a couple points lead. They were in a couple minutes into the fourth quarter. They took a beat out, put him on the bench for a rest, and the Knicks just took over the game. Okay, if Embiid is healthy, and he's not, I would have picked the Sixers in this series, but he's not healthy. And if they're going to do stuff like that, they're going to lose in I would say, does it go 1-1-1 after it's 4?
It's 2-2-1-1-1.
Okay, so I would say I would say the Knicks in 7.
Okay. See, you know what? Too, the same thing
The
happened.
Knicks are going to beat the Celtics, by the way.
No, I don't think so. In any case, in the second quarter, that happened. Philly had a 12-point lead, and they took him out, and then the bench came in, and the Knicks have a better bench. Bogdanovich, he's the ex-net. Am I right, John? And he just went out there.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, he's been around a couple teams, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm calling him a net because I want you to rot. But, and I know you like the Nets. But No, he was a good player with the Nets. He actually was. And he came out there and he was just lighting them. And he did the same thing in the second half. Tony's right. They kept Joel out way too long, and the Knicks bench came out and got him the lead again. It happened 2 times in the game. One at the second quarter, one in the fourth. Fortunately for them, the one in the fourth put him over the top. So,
How about you, Rob? Are you making it Knicks across the board for us here?
So I'll state for the record, I don't trust the Knicks at all in the playoffs. I mean, when's the last time they made the conference finals? I have no idea. So I don't see them getting past this round, but I think they will beat the 76ers. I'm tempted to pick the 7, but a kind of broader commentary is on Joel Embiid. It just kind of seems like I like him as a player. To me, he's a true center. He's a big bulldozer down there, and it just seems like the years are just going by. He's still young, relatively speaking, and he still has some time left, but it's kind of wasting away here with Philly. And unless some changes are made, it's not going to work out. But I don't see the Sixers winning this. So I'll go with the Knicks. I think the Knicks in 6, like you said. Yeah.
All right. So we got one underdog in the East winning, possibly. You guys all pick the favorites.
The Knicks aren't the underdog, though. They're the 2 seed.
No, they're a 2 seed. And then we'll start with the number 1 seed versus the number 7 seed here. OKC versus New Orleans. All right, Bob, I'll go back to you. What do you think?
I think Oklahoma City's a joke. I think that Alexander's a great player, and the rest of them are all too small. You know what? You know what I think? They run around like young 22-year-olds, and that's pretty much what they all are. And sometimes when you're so erratic, you'll go out there, but you can run. So you'll just have a great day. Everything you throw up goes in. And then the next day you can't make anything. And last night they couldn't make nothing. Honestly, if Zion played last night, New Orleans would have won that game. They pretty much should have anyway. They are, and I know early in the year they did the same thing, Oklahoma. They will play lousy the whole game, and luckily, either by ref or by a lucky shot, pull the game out at the end. They're I don't want to say they're trash, but I'm going to say they're definitely not a 1 seed. And I'll say they made me so mad last night. I'm calling them trash. They're so overrated. I hope they get to the finals so Boston can annihilate them. And Boston is going to annihilate them if they play them. But they're not going to get there because Oklahoma is never going to beat Denver. Never. Denver's just a little too good for them. They end up finishing with the same record. Denver started slow, but they picked it up. And they have Jokic is just the best player in the league. And he's a center. And he's big and strong, and I can say a few other things, but I really should because we can use the views. But
we'll get to him. How many games you got that series?
With Oklahoma against New Orleans? Maybe Oklahoma in 6, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they didn't win a game in New Orleans. I could see them going 7. And even then, it's going to come right down to the wire. They are a joke. They really are. They're so erratic. I mean, at the end of the game, they literally actually had more turnovers than points. And the center, the backup center for New Orleans, was dominating them on the boards. He just kept getting rebound after rebound, and he kept passing it back, and they were hitting threes. They could never shake New Orleans the whole game for a 1 seed against, an 8. Come on. And it was a joke. I don't believe in Oklahoma City at all. At all. But I'll give them this round. After that, they're going to be eliminated pretty quick.
How about you, Rob? I expect a less passionate response. How many games do you think?
Yeah, my care level about this series is magnitude orders less than Bob. So I'm assuming Zion Williamson is going to be out again. Shocking, he's injured again.
Yes, 2 weeks. They're going to reevaluate.
That guy. I mean, he was very hyped coming in, and he's just got the injury bug. It's not going to happen. So I think Oklahoma City's going to win, and probably 5. I think they're going to roll. The Pelicans, I don't see doing anything.
Tony?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma. I've been watching this guy blow out his sneakers since he was at Duke. And the guy just, he can't stay healthy, and he's not healthy now. And if he's out for 2 weeks, their season's over. I mean, I'll just go with Oklahoma, and I'll say Oklahoma could beat them in 5.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma in 5 as well. I think Shea Gildas Alexander, I think he's MVP worthy this year. I think that alone can beat the Zion Williamson-less New Orleans Pelicans. So there's a reason they're the 1 seed, and he's it, quite frankly. So yeah, I'll take them in 5. Now to the next series. Dallas, they're going to have an uphill battle against the Clippers here. They're down 1-0 already. I'm going to take them. I'll take them in 7. And I'll pass it over to Rob here.
You said the Clippers?
Clippers
Clippers,
versus Dallas
Mavericks.
here.
Yeah.
What do we know this deal with Kawhi Leonard? Is he going to be coming back?
I don't know. He was day to day when I saw it last, and yesterday was not that day. But that being said, the Clippers roasted the Mavs, roasted them. Westbrook is back, but yeah.
This is the series I'm the most ignorant about. So I'm gonna just take a guess, and I'm gonna hop on the 7-game bandwagon for the Clippers.
Just vote against John. You're mad at him now. He's Connecticut. You're never going to root for him siding. No matter what he said.
I mean, well, at least he's not a bandwagon. He liked them back in the early 2000s. So I mean, at least he's not a bandwagon fan. And he saw Syracuse beat them in the 6 overtime game, which he'll never forget.
Yes, I was not old enough to stay up the whole time.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah.
I should have got in. I just didn't at the time. I didn't want to pay $60 for the quarterfinal. Stupid.
Right.
Bob, who you got? Clippers, Mavs?
I've got the Clippers. I could see them winning in 5. I mean, Dallas is a 2-man team, and the rest of that team is just eh. But the Clippers, I mean, I don't want to say they stacked the team, but they stacked the team. And Paul George is having the best year of his career. And Harden's a notorious choke, but he's got so many players this time, maybe he won't choke. Or maybe he won't have to because the rest of the players will bail him out. But if he is going to choke, it's not going to be in this round. The Clippers are going to take them out, I think, in 5. They're that kind of good.
Tony?
This is a tough series because, they built the Clippers to win it all. There was a time during the season where people were saying this is the best team and they could win it all. That's given if they're all healthy, because Kawhi Leonard won it in Toronto. I mean, let's face it, he was their mainstay there, right? He took them to the championship and they won it, and no one expected that, and they won it. I mean, they're loaded with talent. It's just without Kawhi Leonard, I can see, I don't know. I can see Dallas beating them, but I can also see the Clippers winning it all if they all get healthy. If they all get healthy and get on a roll, they can beat everybody, including the Celtics. They could put the Celtics and the Knicks together in one team, and
they actually did go to Boston this year and roasted us. We lost by 25, and that game was never close. Yeah. That was the worst beating we took all year.
It's a real tough pick. It's probably the toughest pick in the whole bracket thing. It really is. I mean, it could go either way. I like the Clippers if they were healthy, completely healthy, but I can see the Mavericks beating them and knocking them off, because the one thing I don't like about the Clippers is I don't like the guy with the beard,
Harden.
I do not like Harden. He's a loser. He always wants to take the winning shot. He's selfish. If they can get him to play as a team player, they could win it all. But
he's got to be the most overrated player, one of them of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of his. I mean, everywhere he's been, he's always had to take the winning shot and always wind up missing it. So I don't really like him. I'll go with Dallas. I got to pick an upset here. I'll take Dallas.
How many games?
Uh, 7 games.
All right. Tony's on my bandwagon. I'll take it.